loved Andor Season 2's premiere arc. The content creator in me is still a bit sad that we can't get an episode a week, but the Star Wars fan in me and the impatient man in me is happy we didn't have to wait 2 weeks for that massive finale. Over the course of the next few days, expect videos like this, where I dive into specific themes and moments, and hopefully, assuming my creativity is still flowing, expect them after every new episode arc. Obviously, if you haven't seen the premiere yet, and you don't want to be spoiled, pack your things. You're leaving. Until you watch the arc, I guess. You have been warned. Today I wanted to talk about a moment that stood out to me in an incredibly unsettling way. A work meeting. A sterile, quiet room with a bunch of Imperial officers and bureaucrats sitting across from each other. Some are representatives of the engineering wing of the Imperial military, others are members of the infamous Imperial Security Bureau, some seem to be members of Imperial intelligence, and everyone in that room has been called to the meeting by the man at the head of the table. Director Orson Krennic, head of the Advanced Research Division of Imperial Intelligence, the agency that is oftentimes mistaken for their rival, the Imperial Security Bureau. Ben Mendelsohn is such a joy to watch on screen with his self-centered, comically arrogant demeanor and egomaniacal domination of the room, that it's easy for me to forget that he's actually one of maybe the top 5 most important Imperial leaders in the entire galactic empire by the time we get to Andor and certainly by Rogue One. His speech to the room, demanding silence and a pledge to secrecy from everyone, is wildly entertaining, and it's easy to see why someone like Tarkin or Vader would have no time for it. But anyone not at his level, which is the vast majority of the Imperial leadership, would need to tread carefully around him in the influence he commands. And this episode is a very good example of that. Among the group sit the 2 major ISB representatives, Dedra Meero and her direct superior, Major Partagaz, who observe Krennic quietly with what look like expressions of exasperation, disdain, or uncertainty. The content of the meeting: Gorman, a charming, proud, and prosperous system that is of great interest to the Empire, and more specifically, Krennic. Below the surface of the planet exists a valuable mineral called calcite, necessary for Krennic's plans. I wonder what it could be for. I don't know, I think he said something about a clean energy solution that brings joy to billions of... Oh. That mineral, calcite, is extremely vital to Krennic's project, and Gorman has that mineral in abundance. The director talks a flowery game, emphasizing that the energy project will be a great benefit to the Empire's economy as well as the Empire's prestige and, of course, their authority. That this will ultimately be done for the greater good of every person in the galaxy. Alternatives are allegedly being evaluated, perhaps a synthetic option to negate the need for the real thing entirely, but it's becoming increasingly clear that Krennic and the top brass are fully prepared to, and expecting to, conduct a massive forced displacement to force the Gormans living in the designated area of interest to leave their homes, by force if necessary, so that the Empire can get to the mineral. 800,000 Gorman people would be subject to the removal from their areas of residence, and their homes likely dismantled to make way for the large construction vehicles and digging tools needed to break ground. And it's not just removing 800,000 Gormans from a designated spot. Members of the meeting bring up the fact that the endeavor itself would destabilize the entire planet's core, endangering everyone and likely forcing them away from the planet entirely, if not, in the worst case scenario, killing them. In our own world, the world that Star Wars takes inspiration from, that is an unambiguous war crime. Contrary points are made, albeit in a very limited and guarded capacity so as not to draw the ire of Director Krennic, who really wants this done. Not everyone at the table necessarily looks pleased with the idea of ruining the lives of potentially millions of people, but the longer the meeting goes on, the quieter those voices suggesting maybe we should find another way are, and they are replaced with new voices asking, how would we do it? What if we develop a disease and make them leave that way? Should we use Imperial troops? How do we vilify the Gormans to the media so that we can manufacture Imperial citizens' consent? And all of these evil men discuss the logistics of a crime against humanity, while popping finger food and wine into their mouths and joking about their days, gossiping like it's just another day at the office. 2 minutes into the scene, I realized why I was so put off by all of it, and it was because I had seen it before. This scene, brilliantly crafted by the showrunners of Andor, was almost certainly inspired by the Wannsee Conference of January 20th, 1942. Nazi and SS officials and bureaucrats from all across the German government, led by General Reinhard Heydrich, the Butcher of Prague, met in a villa near Berlin to discuss what would eventually be the final solution. The outcome of this meeting of Nazi brain trust was a consensus that an industrial level of killing via gas chambers was the most effective way to destroy the Jewish population of the Third Reich and eventually the world. And the legacy of this meeting of evil men deciding the fate of an entire people over finger food and alcohol was the genocide of over 6 million Jewish people. The 2001 film Conspiracy covers the Wannsee Conference, and as a piece of acting and a lesson on how evil the Nazis were, I encourage all of you to find time to watch it yourselves, so that you can understand the depravity and the callousness that oozed from every scene, oozed from every person, while they treated it like an all-hands company meeting on a Wednesday. And like we see in the first episode of Andor Season 2, the meeting portrayed in Conspiracy begins with a "what do we do?" and over the course of strong-arming, side-eyes, unspoken warnings to fall in line, the viewer suddenly realizes that this final solution was one that General Heydrich, the leader of the meeting, was the conclusion that he wanted everyone to arrive at from the beginning. The meeting was never about, should we do this? The meeting was a way to decide how they do it. Some attendees have their own reservations, others are too scared to rock the boat, and some enthusiastically support elimination from the start. By the end of the meeting, the consensus is clear. Those that hold reservations remain silent, those that are too cowardly to offer their own reservations clap for the final solution, and the ones that wanted it from the start bang on the table in celebration. Tony Gilroy wants us to view the Empire like how you'd view the Nazis in the movie Conspiracy. These men are the type to order your entire family's death in order to meet a quota. While eating food, they take yours away. Some may feel a bit bad, but when your house is getting glassed from orbit and your family's memory is shattered and you lose your friend or mother or father or, God forbid, all of the above, does it really matter that the man who pulled the trigger felt kind of bad about it? Do the ones that were too scared to speak up get brownie points for not openly suggesting genocide and forced removal? Star Wars is no stranger to making references to the evils of regimes like Nazi Germany. I talk about it plenty, as do so many others who are far more educated on the subject than I could be in 10 years. But Andor, once again, has proven that Star Wars is a franchise perfectly capable of going even further beyond the pale than ever before, with the right showrunner, the right director, and the right idea. There's so much more I plan on talking about in these first 3 episodes, and I hope you enjoy videos like this along with my longer video essays. If you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button, subscribe so that you're among the first to see any new content and discussion going forward, and always remember to hit the bell icon so that you're notified. As always, continue to stay safe in this crazy world we live in, and always remember, the Force will be with you, always.